Welcome to episode number 12 of the Unofficial Official Story. I'm Jennifer. I am the fearless investigator.
And I'm Koji, the so-called chief of the show.
Yes, and I'm Dwayne, the guy writing jokes for the class clown, the man behind the man, if you will.
So this is a podcast where we tell you the official story. We look at the paranormal, conspiracies, unexplained phenomena, cryptids, and even true crime.
And in this episode, we're asking the question, was gangster rap created and pushed to send more people to prison?
And by the end, we'll tell you what really maybe happened.
Before we meet our guest, our extra special guest today, we just want to let you know that this is our last episode of the season.
Yay. Oh, is it a yay or is it a aw?
It's an aw.
No, it's a yay, because you made it to the end and there'll be another season.
Yes, true.
We'll be taking a month off so we can recharge, do more research. If you have any ideas, listeners, for the next season, please send it to us through DM or through the website. But we will have a bonus episode for you while we're gone. Okay, now let's meet our guest, one of the most talented rappers of all time, Ras Kass, in the house.
Ras Kass is considered a critic's darling, a hip-hop purist archetype, and a rapper's worst nightmare. His nom de plume is literally your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. He's a lyricist, published author, executive producer, SAG actor, ghostwriter, voiceover actor, music consultant, public speaker, and urban philosopher. Ras recently received a B+ GPA in the recently viral hip hop report card. B+? What the fuck is that?
I know, what the
Kool Moe Dee
fuck?
on trip, man.
Actually, that should have been in the...
From old school legend Kool Moe Dee, thank you. He worked with these greats, Dr. Dre to DJ Premier, the RZA to Kanye West, from Apollo Brown, the Alchemist, to Grammy Award-winning funk producer Jack Splash, and collaborated with elite rappers such as Kendrick Lamar, Nipsey Hussle, Jay-Z, 2 Chainz, The Lox, Ice-T, Too Short, Talib Kweli, and too many more others to name. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. It's an honor to meet you. And, I grew up in Brooklyn, so...
No doubt. Salute. Brooklyn, stand up.
Yeah, like when we heard you, you were the one from out here, for sure.
Thank
Which you already know that, but...
I get a lot of love back east, especially Brooklyn.
Absolutely.
Second home.
Tell us, how did you get in hip-hop?
Late bloomer. It was ambient noise for me. I got 4 sisters, so my socialization was being around the fellas outside. So the older guys, the older boys. So they were playing it. So it was always around. I think I fell in love with it sometime around hearing... I can remember Fuck the Police resonating with me, NWA, on multiple levels. I know why now, subconsciously why it resonated with me. And KRS One, so just period, edutainment, all those records. And then I went backwards and just started really listening, because you hear things all the time, but a lot of people don't listen. So I started listening to hip hop from that point.
Right. And it's crazy. I think your style is such a perfect mix. Because I was just pulled you up on Spotify just to get back into the vibe of things. And yeah, I was like, yo, when a West Coast artist is like super lyrical, it hits different. You know what I mean?
That's
why Kendrick, it's like, because the hardness is still there.
Right.
And the bars, it's like a deadly combination. It hits way different than anything else.
Thank you, man. Yeah, but I'm like the prototype of that evolution, which was, hood kid, but purist as far as the production and interpretation of hip hop.
What do you got going now? Or is there something that we can look forward to? Yeah, tell us what you got.
Quite a few things. Mainly, my main concern right now, our biggest focus is rest in peace, Prodigy from Mobb Deep.
Right.
He can never be replaced. That was a friend of, P was a friend of mine. What we're doing is a project that's almost finished. We're called Gutter, Guttr. So it's me, Havoc. So we're retaining that sound. We'll never be able to make more Mobb Deep records, but there's no really platform for Havoc's production on that street shit, that grimy shit. And so to make sure it didn't get too much comparisons to Mobb Deep, we wanted to focus on hood shit. We got RJ Payne out of Philly, who's up and coming, Eminem. Everybody's been talking highly about him. So RJ Payne, myself, and Havoc are Gutter. So that project's almost finished. Great. Shouts out to everybody that's been a part of it. Sway from Sway's Universe, MOP, Method Man, Jadakiss, Beanie Siegel, Freeway, whatever. So just all the people that's coming together to make this a special project. We're finishing up now.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it's going to be dope.
Any beats from Alchemist on this one?
No, this is all Havoc, because it's Mobb Deep. We want the sound of Mobb Deep. Like, we will never get that again. You'll never get that, but at least the soundtrack of what a Mobb Deep album would sound like would be Havoc's production all the way through. So, we're just strictly Havoc on the beat.
Oh, that's dope. And are there any, leftover Prodigy bars?
When people pass away, unfortunately, estates get involved,
Yeah.
Right,
and all
right.
that gets complicated. Actually, years ago, we're out in the streets, you get into beefs and whatever. So the time I thought, possibly I might die on this one, whatever. And I remember just threatening my mother. I was like, don't put me on no songs with no motherfuckers I don't like if I die. Not because that shit happens, man,
Really?
Yeah, of course. My mama don't know who I don't fuck
Right,
with. She's
right.
like, yeah, Jesus. And then, everybody loves you when you're dead. So posthumously, Pac ends up on songs with people he didn't fuck with. And
Right,
same thing with
right.
Nipsey Hussle. Like, your
Right.
baby mama or your mom does not know your street life and who you don't fuck with. And a lot of times they're just listening to people who are exploiting the opportunity.
Right.
Because you're dead,
That's
you can't
crazy.
say no. So
Right.
I kind of, my little sister, she has a list of people who I don't fuck with.
Oh.
Like, don't you
So
ever put me on a fucking song with this fucking weirdo, bro.
That's so dope.
Yeah, fuck that.
I don't want to, kind of a spoiler alert, but if you watch Ghost 2, Power, Second Power, he gets arrested, little Tariq. And then, like, his father, who's dead now, his father's lawyer gives him a letter. And he opens up the letter, and all it says is, I knew you would end up here, little nigga. You know? So just in sense of, like, thinking of what's going to happen when you pass away.
Right.
And I'm a comedian. I never even thought about that. But I think, like, if I die, people are going to start, like, taking my jokes and try to do compilations that I wouldn't have been cool with and all of that.
I have a plan. So also my little, she's brilliant, speaks fluent Japanese, she's just, that's my little, I call her the Obama bitch.
Right.
So, she's the one, just super smart Berkeley law graduate. But anyway, so the whole point for her is I told her, I'm going to record my death album.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And then 3 years after I come out,
Oh, that's cool.
after I die,
Right.
then I'm going to release it. So then that'll say everything that I really felt.
That's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
You should keep
You don't-
recording
you don't
these
have to
Oh,
songs.
like
fuck
it.
you. Fuck
Yeah.
this.
That is-
I never liked you. Your pussy was whack.
That is so dope.
I hate you.
Right.
Not cool with this.
Right.
And then the song, the hook will be like, so what? I'm dead, nigga. I don't
Right.
care. Yeah.
And
all that.
have you recorded any of that? That's
I've been
amazing.
writing it, but yeah,
Oh.
that's
That's
yeah.
hilarious.
And there's songs that I feel like already fit it, and I'm
Right,
just
right.
moving into it. But there's some I have to really write out, like
Right,
fuck you
right.
specifically to certain people.
That's hilarious.
That is brilliant. And it's
Yeah.
crazy. You talked about like
I'm gonna call it Death Mask. I
Death
just
Mask.
came up with it. Thank you.
one foot in the street, one foot in the business. And just hearing you talk, it just sounds like you have so much on your plate. And so how much are you currently still in the streets? And how much work is this? Because it seems like you do, like my thing from being a comic, I'll say, is that I didn't realize, I always thought, I don't have a day job. Then I started doing it and I realized this is way
all
harder than a
day,
day
yeah.
job. You know what I mean?
This is being in a
constant.
submarine. You are constantly
Right.
doing the crafts that we picked are, they're 24-hour demanding,
Right.
minute man shit. Do it. Be good at it. Win the time call. Me, as far as streets, I'm not in the streets. I don't gangbang, whatever. So, I'm born and raised in L.A. It's like any dude that is any kind of a athletic, curious boy. You run around with your friends range, and you do stupid shit with your friends, whatever that
Right.
entails with whatever group of friends you're with at that particular time. But me, what I call the streets now is just life, surviving. We got bills to pay, shit to do. Sometimes you got to take a risk and do some shit that may not be as legal. You do what you can to survive. That's just the fucking world we live in and the reality. And we picked a business that, again, is peaks and valleys. So not everybody gets to be Prince or Beyonce
That's exactly.
or fucking win the 17,000 Oscars. I actually alluded to that in the rhyme, and I was just saying, I was talking about, we have a song in the Gutter Project, and the song is called Stop Playing. And basically, it's about the industry. Like,
Right.
I stop playing music industry, don't like hip hop playing, whatever. But I say something about alluding to like all these artists, they coon out, they prostitute themselves and their integrity and their art form for the success. Then they go to these award shows where the people that own these companies, same things with the movies.
Right.
And then they overlook people of color, and then everybody cries like, Grammy's so white. Oscar's so white. Nigga, your boss is white, and they never gave a fuck about you anyway, and get over it.
Right. Of course.
So
it's
stop
right.
playing that game.
Right.
So that's the streets for me, is like surviving the corporation that doesn't have my best interests at heart anyway, and doesn't have the best, not even that it's personal, it's just they don't care about the art form. They're just here to exploit it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right.
So I know one of the things I respected out of you when I was growing up, because I grew up out here in Los Angeles, was that you fuck with all the different groups of people, like from different coasts. You were like messing with the West Coast, East Coast. You know, I was caught up in that whole crap. You know, I was like, oh, like I only like West Coast. Exactly. I was in middle school, so you know, like, so fuck Brooklyn. No, I'm just kidding. But you know.
Don't say that. They got the Brooklyn motherfuckers on the moon, bro.
I love Brooklyn.
They are everywhere.
Yeah, I have a friend who's from Brooklyn, so I'm good. No, I'm kidding. But one of the things that I remember, you know, as a kid, can you tell me a little bit about the whole controversy with Pac and all that stuff?
I mean, I was younger, so that's not my generation. So, you know, I call it 13th grade. So some people, it's cliquey, like high school, like the music industry. Acting, I'm sure it's those same things. There's your A-list, super popular. In rap, it's like literally your jocks. There's your, you know what I'm saying? There's your fucking, we're the gangster guys. Then we're the trap guys. We're the pimp guys. We're the crip guys. We're the blood guys. We're the really fucking elite black guys. We're the pseudo-intellectuals. So it's all these little groups of people. And in my grade, Pac and them are before me. So Pac and Pun and all those people, I'm in the same class. Technically, it would be me and kind of sort of the Locks, but not really. Even Common and Twister, like me and maybe Outkast would kind of be in our grade.
Right. You mean know, from a timeline or from
timeline? Who comes out? Because I'm coming out. I'm buzzing from '92 on. Then I go to jail and all kind of shit happens. You know, whatever. So you don't really, we never really counted, at least with people I talk to, until like you got your deal and your record dropped. Or your single drop. So my timeline is closer to, it's in there with Kweli and Pharoah Monch. We're all in the same class. You know, Pac and them were, and then you talking about, you know, Pac, somebody that was selling multi-platinum, had movies, fucking Madonna. He's just a different. So I'm kind of on the outside looking in. I was acquainted with him, and his family is my clique too. So Digital Underground, Shock G, and all of them, they're the first people to embrace me outside of L.A. Well, Tupac's whole family. The person I was in a group with, Saphir, was Tupac's roommate, and then he ran with Thug Life, which was my friends. They were older than me, but on Crenshaw, the Rolling 60. So Rated R and all of them was my friends, just on some running the streets, being a bad kid. So we all knew each other, but I would just, every time I saw him, super nice to me. He was super nice to me. He didn't like Exhibit because that was a misunderstanding. So I had to fix that situation. On Machiavelli, they said, got something for that nigga that made Paparazzi. You know what I'm saying? Bomb first song on the album. They add Exhibit. So I had heard the record before it came out, and they all come up to me we all had a show. And they like, bad news, Ras. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, fuck, I know already. But I hadn't heard the whole album. I thought he was going to get me too. So I thought Tupac was going to diss me because I'm on the song with
Chino XL.
I'm literally on the song where he says the thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm fucked both ways. This Exhibit shit, I done put myself, and then I'm on the song where Chino says the shit, and he's already, fuck Chino XL, fuck, I'm like, God, I'm just waiting for him to say, like, and you too, Ras Kass, or fuck. So he never dissed me. You know, I'm super, just shows he, you know, he knew I was part of the family, and I definitely, I love Chino to life, but I definitely at the time didn't know him well enough, and I was kind of like, wasn't okay with the line he said.
Did you know about that line before?
Of course, we were in the studio together.
Oh, okay.
There wasn't digital back then.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I did that as a favor to Rick Rubin. I didn't know Chino. I knew Rick Rubin, and he would personally come pick me up and, you know, play me demos. He wanted to sign me, and once I picked a different label, he asked me to do the song with Chino. I knew of Chino. I knew his talent, but I didn't know him. And we went in the studio, and he did the line. I was like, bro, that's too far, man, and I almost left out. And then because I didn't do that, I'm glad we did it. I'm glad the record came out. I just expected that Tupac was going to send 100 people to kill me. But you know, to answer your question, the whole East-West thing, first of all, I think it's manufactured.
Yeah.
It was highly manufactured. East Coast, we're the two biggest kids on the block, LA, New York.
Right.
So we always will be in competition. period. The ironic part is while we were busy competing, the South took over and now nobody can eat.
Right.
And they don't even know how to, they don't even use words half the time in their raps. They just mumble their way through it. Like literally the East and West were like competing and talking shit about each other, and the South and the Canadians took over. It's like Drake, the Bieber, Weekend. So what here the fucking idiots was sitting there crying about East-West.
You know what's crazy about that? I mean, I love a lot of Southern music. Really, it bumps, it bangs, and all that. It slaps, as the kids say.
It slapped.
But yeah, like my ear was tuned for New York rap.
Right.
Then a few West Coast rappers, Cube, you,
Right.
Even back like King T, you know,
Of course, yeah, T.
a few West Coast rappers I really messed with. And then the South came up, and I still like the South, but then like I was like, it made me realize how much I liked West Coast rap. You know what I mean? Because like if they play like 3 or 4 Southern songs in a row, and they're usually catchy more.
Right, yeah.
And then in West Coast, and I'd be like, oh God, thank you. You know what I mean?
All right, make me say, that was the end of it right there.
I was my label mate, man. I was signing Priority, the Brown Building, Priority Capital. So
well, it's like when Ghost said, he said Laffy Taffy.
Oh yeah,
how y'all niggas get past me. And I thought there was never any kind of get back out as far as I know, but that was like he went at the Laffy Taffy dude. But
the Woo was letting everyone. The Woo was going at Biggie. Woo went at Jay-Z. I was there one time, literally, when Ghost and Capadonna, like we were in a club together. I went with Jay. I was staying, before my second album came out, I lived with Jay-Z.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, because he was Priority. Reasonable Doubt was Priority Records, too.
Right,
so I was going to kind of slide in and be Rockefeller West with Jay at the time. That was the idea. But I remember they were not too happy with Jay. And all of them looked like NBA. They should be a basketball team. The Woo is
tall dudes, right?
Very tall dudes. And I remember Ghost like, you with him, son? Ras, you with him? I was like, yeah, man. And I'm like this big. And yeah, sometimes I'm going to get beat up by Wu-Tang that time. Yeah.
Now, but you've done mad songs with them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, RZA, man, I feel like I'm the spoiled kid that gets away with, like not Wu-Tang, gets more things from RZA than anybody. I'm super blessed. Like, I'm grateful that they all show me a lot of love, but I'm pretty sure it was irritating. Like this fucking Ras Kass kid, like, why son be getting, because I could get RZA didn't rap on any beats but his own back then.
Right.
RZA, I got RZA to rhyme on shit that he didn't produce. He took a liking to me, thank God, because it changed my life.
All right, so what do you guys think? Should we get into this?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. All right, so here are the facts.
Most conspiracies are formed over time and at various different forums, pages, etc. What makes this conspiracy fun is that we have the original anonymous post on hiphopisread.com back in 2012. Instead of trying to interpret it for you, let's just read you the whole thing.
But it's really, really, really long, so I don't want to...
Not the whole thing.
Yeah, not the whole thing. Yeah.
The part that you need to hear like that.
So in the beginning of the letter, which we'll have on our website and on the show notes, this executive talks about being called to this meeting. I think it's somewhere in Malibu or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he goes there. He doesn't know what it's for. He's forced to sign some non-disclosure agreement. And this is the most important part of the letter. So why don't we go ahead and start to look at that?
Quickly after the meeting began, one of my industry colleagues, who shall remain nameless like everybody else, thanked us for attending. He then gave the floor to a man who only introduced himself by first name and gave no further details about his personal background. I think he was the owner of the residence, but it was never confirmed. He briefly praised all of us for the success we had achieved in our industry and congratulated us for being selected as part of this small group of decision makers.
At this point, I began to feel slightly uncomfortable at the strangeness of this gathering. The subject quickly changed as the speaker went on to tell us that the respective companies we represented had invested in a very profitable industry, which could become even more rewarding with our active involvement. He explained that the companies we worked for had invested millions into the building of privately owned prisons, and that our positions of influence in the music industry would actually impact the profitability of these investments.
I remember many of us in the group immediately looking at each other in confusion. At the time, I didn't know what a private prison was, but I wasn't the only one. Sure enough, someone asked what these prisons were and what any of this had to do with us. We were told that these prisons were built by privately owned companies, received funding from the government based on the number of inmates.
The more inmates, the more money the government would pay these prisons. It was also made clear to us that since these prisons are privately owned, As they become publicly traded, we'd be able to buy shares. Most of us were taken aback by this. Again, a couple of people asked what this had to do with us. And at this point, my industry colleague who had first opened the meeting took the floor again and answered our questions. He told us that since our employers had become silent investors in this prison business, it was now in their interest to make sure that these prisons remained filled. Our job being the music of choice. He assured us that this would be a great situation for us because rap music was becoming an increasingly profitable market for our companies. And as employees, we'd also be able to buy personal stocks in these prisons.
Immediately, silence came over the room. You could hear a pin drop. I remember looking around to make sure I wasn't dreaming and saw half the people with dropped jaws. My days was interrupted when someone shouted, "Is this a effing asterisk? Is this a fucking joke?" At this point, things became chaotic. Two of the men who were part of the unfamiliar group grabbed the man who shouted and attempted to remove him from the house. A few of us, myself included, tried to intervene. One of them pulled out a gun and we all backed off. They separated us from the crowd and all four of us were escorted outside.
My industry colleague, who had opened the meeting earlier, hurried out to meet us and reminded us that we had signed agreement and would suffer the consequences of speaking about this publicly or even with those who attended the meeting. I asked him why he was involved with something that this corrupt, and he replied that it was bigger than the music business and nothing we'd want to challenge without risking consequences. We all protested, and as he walked back into the house, I remember word for word the last thing he said, "It's out of my hand now. Remember, you signed the agreement." He then closed the door behind him. The men rushed out to our cars and actually watched us until we drove off. So the letter goes on, right? The letter goes on a little bit. And eventually he quits the music business because he gets all bitter.
When we come back, we're going to put our minds together and figure out what really maybe happened.
If you have an idea about what really happened or want us to discuss a topic for season 2, please visit us at unofficialofficialstory.com and let us know. Who knows, if we like it, we might just ask you to come on the show with us.
Now that we've discussed the facts, let's workshop our ideas.
All right, so I'll go first. I don't buy any of this, but I do buy there was a conspiracy. This is a conspiracy. All right, so I was a kid around this time. You know, I was very influenced by gangster rap. I mean, this is why to this day, even in my suits, I sag my pants, even though I'm like 40. And my wife hates it, but that's how gangster I am. So, so the whole point of this meeting was not actually for the prison system, but it was to teach Asians like myself to be hard. So that we would listen to this music, the Asian guys, because what's our stereotype? That we're weak, that we're small, we have a small penis, all that shit. Nerdy, right?
But then you also got we're in the jiu-jitsu studio right now.
So we have martial arts. But people always conveniently ignore that part of it.
Right.
So the whole gangster rap business was just about how to be tough now, how to be gangster, you know? Because once I listened to Pac and Snoop and Dog Pound Gangsters and Dre and all those guys, I knew how to act from that point on.
That's cool.
And I was never going to be punked again.
I like it.
Ever.
But then too many Asian guys got too hard. So then they came out with K-pop. Just to bring it back a little bit.
You got K-pop tatted on each head, on his stomach.
Next conspiracy.
Dwayne, you want to go?
Well, the thing is, I think it's one of those things where it almost doesn't matter if it happened or not, in a sense, because if it didn't happen, then it's like a parable, right? And so someone's saying it happened in the sense that the music did change. So was there a meeting? Who knows? But the music did change, right? And I know that when I pitch things, I remember pitching some sketch ideas for this show, and I won't say the show or anything like that. Like I would pitch something, they would go, "Oh, okay." I pitch something else, I'm like, "Okay." Then I would pitch something that was related to being Black. And they would light up, "Oh, yeah, right?" And so then I got a sense, oh, this is what they want. They never had to say what they want. They didn't have to say it. They just responded to the ideas that they wanted. It's just like when you go to the airport, they say it's random, but you can't randomly search everybody who has a turban. You know what I'm saying? It's not random, but they never say what it is. So I'm sure when they're training
it's implicit.
It's implicit, right?
Right.
So when they're training you, they're like, you got to randomly search that guy. You got to randomly search, so they're telling you. So I don't know. I think just for the record, I think this did happen only because when you read the letter, he sounds like he is from Europe. He says certain things wrong. Like it sounds like English is his second language, even though he's super fluent. But I would say that not only did this meeting happen, but my whole theory is that the whole genre of rap was created by the powers that be. And I think we've talked about this before. Like they sat down in the probably 50s. There's a recording in the 50s. There's a group called, the group called Avalanche or the Avalanches? They're from Australia. They're like a DJ group. They produce beats and everything. And they have a song with the dude from Camp Lo. Sonny Chiba.
Yeah.
And there's a sample there on this song, right? It's like it's a little boy singing. It's a sample thing. And that sample is from this like album in the 50s. And it's just this weird album of these little kids singing. It's almost like what you would do at home if you just hit record and was messing around. And I think that was like the beginning of like early rap, quote unquote, just encouraging young Black men to mess around, to, explore sounds. And I think they created rap music not only to like control us, but to take their catalogs and make more money off their own catalogs, since rap is a sampling medium. So it was like...
We talked about this in the Robert Johnson
about this before, yeah.
episode.
So, yeah, this meeting did happen. But I think, so my theory is not about this meeting, but about the fact that rap, the whole genre was created. I don't know if Kool Herc was in on it, but but the whole genre was created. They were like, instead of these kids learning instruments and all of that, they'll just use our songs. We'll get paid twice, and then we can control them too. The same guys who were at this meeting, their fathers were, and they're either young versions of themselves or their fathers was at another meeting in the late 50s where they laid down this whole thing to switch us over from like jazz and bebop to this new thing called hip hop.
Wow.
That's so good.
Jennifer, what's your theory?
You guys have really good theories. That is so good. Mine is, I just was thinking, I took the other route. I don't want to believe that gangster rap was created for money or like manufactured or anything or some conspiracy. And I think it's mainly because I hadn't heard of this theory before we all got together for this and did our research. And also, why isn't there more press about it? So that's why I kind of thought it was just a random author, novelist. I was going to say Stephen King, but I don't know because
That's awesome.
somebody wrote this blog post. I don't read enough fiction novels. I'm just reading scripts and self-help books all the frickin' time. So that's what I digest. So I don't read enough novels, although I wish I could, so I could figure out whose writer's voice this is. I want to know. I think this is some writer that wrote this post that's just being creative. So therefore, there was no meeting and gangster rap was not created to fund people's pockets that were investing in private prisons. So that's my theory, is that there's some writer out there.
Right.
That
And you're going to go with Stephen King out like that? Or
I'm just going to throw Stephen King out like that.
Robert Pattinson, there you go.
It's more his
James
style.
Patterson, not Robert.
James, I'm sorry, James, you're right.
Robert Pattinson is Batman.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. James Patterson. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Along Came a Spider. Yeah, that guy.
What about you?
I was at the meeting. Sorry.
I was gonna ask you if you had to
I
sign
started
the
that meeting. No, to be perfectly honest with you, I know a couple of years ago, Crazy Bone was talking about this. And I want to say, from my own experience, I feel like I was told about this in real time around then.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
No
I was still a major label artist, and I do remember being it alluded to by A&R and execs and people I knew. So I tend to lean towards that it happened. And then I did watch, because, as an artist, again, the round building, I watched the change. I watched it inside the machine. And we knew that there was an incentive for private prisons. It's just a lady that's about to retire. She's in like Virginia. She was just like locking up kids because she had a deal with, she's not even gonna go to jail. You can Google
There's
her.
It happened in Pennsylvania too.
It is Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And
A judge was giving harsher sentences because they had a side deal with the prisons.
What?
Yeah. And then you got to understand that
That
even...
makes me sick.
And they were doing that to children, period.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, this judge. Yeah, man. With that being said, I feel as if, look, a car company knows what kind of car it's going to make for the next 5 years. Why wouldn't any other company?
Okay.
They have a plan, a pattern of practice. The only reason why I disagree with your concept is they already own jazz. We created rock and roll. Black people created rock and roll. They created jazz, and they were constantly disenfranchised. Black people could make the music, and then they would buy it from you for pennies, say it wasn't worth anything. I don't know if you saw, what's the brother that just passed away, Black Panther? The last thing he did.
The movie about
Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
He did the thing that it was something directed by.
Yeah, he did that movie, that last movie.
Yeah, it's the last movie about the blues thing. Yeah. And that's the whole thing. He's coming up with these different patterns, and it's kind of loosely based on a true situation. But they were disenfranchised. The point point being is that you couldn't even have your face on albums up until like the late 50s or early 60s as black people. And then they would take your records. All the Elvis records were stolen, bought, or stolen. We were disenfranchised. So we've always... Rap is only the invention of having nothing to play with, no instruments. But we had instruments, and then they would just steal that too. They would steal the records, they'd steal the songs. We make them. The Beach Boys' biggest record is a remake, a stolen riff. Like they've stolen our music from the beginning and then take our faces off of it. So it's called urban, or quote unquote, just to, if we could be real here, this is called nigger music. Rock and roll is called nigger music. Blues was called nigger music. Rap was called nigger music. Everything's nigger music until white people do it. Then it's called pop. And they still call you nigger music because they call it urban. That's why urban people do your urban award shows and they're popular things. They're just changing words. You're the nigger. Now, anything you do is not cool until they put their face on it. And so with those factors being, the fact that I do kind of remember industry people talking about this, I think it did exist and I think they did implement it.
That's crazy.
Unfortunately. Yeah. Think about BT. After Bob Johnson sold BT, was based in DC and whether it's Japanese television, whether it's Chinese television, whether it's, I forgot what the Jewish channel is, JDTV or whatever. If the Nazis owned Jewish TV, what kind of programs do you get? So what I'm saying is BT was sold to Viacom. I called it Viacom Coon. They took all the Caribbean vibes. They took all the culture out of BT. They took all the rap. That's when, and that was the advent also of no variety.
Yeah, and BET Uncut, which was like,
they
took
took Tavis Smiley off, which was a teen summit thing where young people, they brought smart people in to talk to young teenagers about the things you're going to go through. So, 17, 16 to 19-year-olds to talk. Like it was something for the culture, not just full exploitation. And they did siphon off and they pushed party rap, gangster rap, and then there was no balance. There was no variety. There was no Tribe Called Quest. There was no Rakim. There was no KRS-One. There was no Ras Kass. It was strictly party or kill. And then it's even, I would just say that it's got to be more extreme where it's escapism. So it used to be about drug dealing, now it's about drug popping. So now it's addict music.
That's exactly right. Rappers in the 90s, it was like, we sell drugs. Now rappers like, we use drugs.
It's different.
It was like, none of the 90s rappers, they never said they used drugs. Maybe smoked weed, but they were not.
It was not, you could not admit about you did cocaine in 2001. Like, you partied if you partied and you kept that to yourself, but you can't get on the record. Like, I did 8 lines of coke. Now, I've kind of watched it regress where that's the popular thing to do is like how many pills and I'm depressed and suicide is like, and unfortunately, and it's actually gotten so big where it's outside of the urban. A lot of these things backfire. It was intentional to promote strictly violent music. I think they did. Telling you, I used to have conversations with executives that owned the company that own the Beatles catalog and they own Kylie Minogue and, all my label mates. And I write this intelligent thing and then you go promote the guy that crip walks and drinks a 40 ounce and shoots 17 niggas in his rap. Why is that? Same thing you said, like, when, like, you're pitching one thing, and they're like, well, with a black guy, but he had an afro. They're like, that's funny. The stereotype shit. So, I don't know. I tend to lean towards, I believe it happened or some degree of it.
Wow.
The end result ended up the same.
All right, well, we're at that point where we have to choose the official, unofficial story. I feel strongly that I like our guests' theory, because it's not a theory. It's like he's saying it happened. He was there.
Personally, I like yours better.
Yours is like I wish it was that.
That's the way. I wish it was.
But I think it's crazy because this guy didn't name names, like Corrupt did, right? But
nice.
But there's something about it like. It doesn't matter if it didn't happen. It happened even if this meeting didn't happen.
Some version of this. I mean, because also, I don't want to get too far into it, but obviously it plays on stereotypes of African-American males, right? That you're violent and that blah, blah, blah. And people buy that. They couldn't buy that you're smart or articulate, right? That like, you have something to say.
But then was there another meeting that said, okay, it's gangbusters, the prison thing, the gangster stuff, but Now we just need them to also wear dresses. So I don't know if...
Well, that was in the acting side of it. That was all the,
Well, but Pac talks about, what does he say? Like, blues was about, you're singing for the group. And then he's like, jazz was you're knocking on the door and no one's listening. And then rock was like, you're like hitting the door. And he's like, and then hip hop was, I'm blowing the door down and I'm going to shoot everybody in this room. Right. So on that level, that's what he talked about. I don't know.
And even like the little thing, like, it's okay, it's cool, right? Some people, if you're named after your father, they call you little whatever, right? If you're a short person, you call you little. But every rapper now wants to be little. And every other rapper was big. In the 90s,
I
you were
know.
big.
I said that. I recently, everybody was big. There was, Big L
Big
and
Pun.
Big Pun and
Right.
Biggie. Yeah, now everybody's little. But now they're even younger than that.
Right.
Because now they're babies and the babies. So now next thing is going to be like sperm. They're getting younger and younger. It's to be younger. So they went from big to little to baby to
Sperm.
spermy.
That's going to be Spermy the rapper.
Spermy the rapper.
Spermy.
Jennifer, which theory did you like best?
We haven't really ever picked the theory that's actual theory.
Yeah,
right?
no, we've
We
never
always,
picked it, no.
So this is the first time because we have almost like a witness that was like there in the mix and had heard about it in the 90s. I think we should go with that too. And like Dwayne said, whether the meeting happened or not, this has happened.
Right. And also, like, what made, I think, Jay-Z pop and your stuff is, even if you do have the gangster themes, you have the consequence in there too. What happens, and then they took that out.
Right. They did.
Yeah.
Because even with Scarface and, I never seen a man cry till I seen a man die, there were consequences in it. It wasn't just, I kill everybody and I know Pablo Escobar and I have all the cocaine. Right. And it's like, if you did, you wouldn't be rapping.
Exactly.
It's just ridiculous. Exactly. I mean, and for real, just looking at, I remember just maybe 9 years ago, just looking at the pressure on a teenager, like, you gotta have that many chains? I can't afford all those chains. like to be cool at 20 right now, these motherfuckers talking about Bentleys and these kind of guns and like, what you're gonna have to, you better be good with the credit card game. The credit card scam game better be up, or you got to kill everybody because you can't afford the shit that they talking about. $1,000 Kanye fucking ugly moon boot. Hint, my brother's wearing.
That is the official story. We're going to take another break. And when we return, we'll take a look at some other hip hop conspiracy theories that are out there. People always ask us how they can start a podcast. And one of the first things we tell people is that they should host their show on Buzzsprout, like we do.
Whether you're looking for a new marketing channel, have a message you want to share with the world, or just think it would be fun to have your own talk show, podcasting is an easy, inexpensive, and fun way to expand your reach online.
Buzzsprout is hands down the easiest and best way to launch, promote, and track your podcast. Your show can be online and listed in all the major podcast directories within minutes of finishing your recording.
Following the link in the show notes lets Buzzsprout know that we sent you. You'll get a $20 Amazon gift card if you sign up for a paid plan. And most importantly, you'll be helping support our show. Okay, this month, we're going to be taking a lightning round on a few other hip hop conspiracies. So let's see what everyone thinks of these.
First and most important one is, did Suge Knight kill Tupac and Biggie?
No.
Maybe one of them, not both.
Right. See, there's a caveat in there.
Jennifer, what do you think?
Sorry, Suge.
Yeah. I'm scared, so I'll say no.
Yeah, I'm going to say no on that one as well. All right. So the next one is, did Jay-Z, is he part of the Illuminati?
Well, here's the thing. He doesn't need to be because he's so talented. I think he thinks he is. But like, there's like this another level that they like guys like him. He's not really in it. And I've seen him do some hand signals. I'm like, what was that? But I think he thinks he is, yeah.
Oh, that's really funny.
That's pretty funny. Yes, my answer is yes.
I'm rolling with Dwayne. He said he thinks he is.
People don't realize this, but he was supposed to be on Pac's album, Kooluminati. That was him.
Right.
Yeah, it was a callback to Jay, right? No, I'm just kidding.
I see.
Is Tupac alive somewhere?
No, just in our hearts and minds.
Right.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
In my soul. Did I tell you? So I wanted wanted to name my kid Tupac.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been dope. My wife was totally against it. I even talked to the doctor about like, can we put her down so that I can get my son? But the best story was we were out a merry-go-round. He was like 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, I remember he was going up and down, and he's like, Daddy, you should have called me Tupac.
Wow.
And I was super excited.
I get around, right?
And then I went home, and I told my wife, and then I was like, tell her. And he said, I never said that.
Aw.
Whoa.
So were you dreaming it?
No, I'm 100% sure it happened.
Video or it didn't happen. Yeah.
That's what I mean. So anyway, sorry. Biggest mistake of my life. Anyway.
Wow.
All right. I hadn't heard this till I started looking into it, but did Suge Knight inject Eazy-E with AIDS?
Yes.
Yes.
I firmly, what do you think? No?
That's
I
the most
think so.
gangster thing. I mean, it's not just shooting him. It's like, I'm going to fucking put AIDS in you.
I say yes only because he joked about it on Kimmel. Suge
I
did.
saw that video.
Now, maybe he was just playing with the theory that's out there.
I've never heard
But since he
this
said it, you
saw
can
it.
YouTube it. Yeah.
I saw that. And yeah, because he just rapidly declined so quick.
Who has a blood syringe of AIDS juice? I mean, that's some shit. I guess when money buys anything. I'm just going to say, I hope not. That's all I can tell you. That's...
Because there was a rumor back then, too, that there was people with like AIDS-filled syringes at raves, remember? And they would poke you and then leave a sticker that said, welcome to the world of AIDS.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's scary.
Maybe that was Suge at the raves.
Right.
It was all running up to Easy. That was the thing, right?
Practicing.
Yeah, he's practicing. All right. So someone is out there writing all of Lil Wayne's raps.
No.
No. I think maybe he got a little help. There's been periods.
Writer's block?
Yeah. I mean, Gilly the Kid always says he wrote, and then he says he wrote a lot of the Carter 2, but then I think he retracted that.
Oh.
So I think Wayne got some help, but I think once the scissor kicked in, he was all good. Yeah. Or whatever he is it lean?
Lean.
It's
the same thing.
It's
Scissor
lean.
is lean.
Whoever wrote Taylor Swift's, the whole controversy of Taylor Swift, maybe that person also wrote Lil Wayne.
Maybe. Wait, who wrote Taylor? Is it those Norwegian guys?
No, there's a whole controversy around like whether she wrote it or all her stuff, and somebody said she did, and I don't even know. I don't listen to her shit.
No, but Wayne's stuff is too locked in.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's how brilliant this writer is.
Yeah.
Goes from Taylor Swift all the way to Lil Wayne.
Tell who you say, bro. you know more about Wayne.
Yeah,
Wayne's writing his rhymes? Okay.
What?
So, see, I was going to go with my first instinct.
Ooh, yeah.
Tep got his ear to the streets. I was around during those days. You got to remember, man.
Right.
Gilly and all the Philly boys, they was over there in that camp. So,
Is that right?
yeah, I'm going to go with someone's writing them.
Well, he's saying the hell out of them, so let's...
Well, you know what? So does Dr. Dre. Like, he's great,
Right.
delivers great. Same way I'm going to throw it out there. Kanye, we don't write them raps either.
That's true, yeah.
So let's be real with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. No, I mean, you could either, like with Taylor, I don't even care. If she could sing well, that's fine. I mean, not everyone can sing and write the song.
Right.
Like some people can't rap and write the song. That's fine.
Yeah.
And you've
Right.
ghostwritten a little bit,
Yeah.
I'm sure,
Yeah.
right?
Even Easy said,
Yeah.
Ice Cube writes the rhymes that I say. So.
Yeah.
You're right.
That's back
Yeah,
in the day.
Easy. Puff said it the best though. He said, "Don't worry if I write rhymes, I write checks." I was like,
That was dope.
All right. 3-6 Mafia, they worship the devil.
I think that they don't.
but they wish they did.
But you know what it is? It's like...
No, that was your answer last time. He's like,
Right.
he's not the Illuminati, but he thinks
You
he
think
is.
That is
But I
pretty
think
funny.
having a name like that, you know what I mean? Like I've never said Candyman however many times, just to be safe, right? So I've never said Candyman, just to be safe. I won't say Candyman, whatever. I've never said,
You're on the third time, just so you know.
Yeah, I've never. No, I've said things in between. I think that you
I
can.
mean, I don't know what the rules are to the Candyman.
Yeah, I don't think they do, but I do think having that name could bring some things to you that you don't, you're not expecting or you don't want.
What do you guys think?
I don't think they do, but I like what you said with Jay-Z. I think they do.
They think they're dealing with Lucifer, but it's like Lucifer's
Yeah.
third in line.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The last one. Did the government entrap T.I. on his gun charges?
No.
No.
So you mean like he was innocent and they set him up?
Yeah, they set him up.
No.
I think no.
Oh, I'm totally...
T.I.'s got a big old long rap sheet, right?
I was out there on that one too. I was
Really?
there. I was around. Yeah, that
I
one I have a
see.
little more insight.
I'm changing
Okay.
my answer now. I was gonna say yes, but now it's no. Okay.
Yeah, I think no.
The thing that trips me out always is that I remember when O.J. Simpson was on trial and everyone's like, why would the LAPD put all this evidence down? That's bullshit. And then like a year later, Rampart happens and you're just like, oh yeah, they did this like constantly to people.
Oh,
I was like-
God. All right.
I was always like, yeah, I don't believe I don't know if OJ did it or not. I don't care really. But it's like, do I believe the police set suspects? I do it all the time.
Yeah, they do.
Right. So it's like,
Oh, listen, I have a whole new bit I'm working on. It's not really done yet, but when I tell people to watch Dateline, because so many white dudes get railroaded. And so if that's your jump off point, if you see white dudes get railroaded, just
Can you
imagine what everybody else.
Shit runs downhill.
Right. Thank you, Ras Kass, for coming on with us. We really appreciate it. Please tell us where people can follow you, all that stuff.
Yeah, the best way to catch me is on Instagram at RAS_KASS. And from there, I can give you my campsite.bio, which goes to every nook and cranny of my journey.
Thank you, Ras. Thank you so much all for listening. There are a million podcasts out there. We're so honored you chosen ours to listen to and to this very special episode.
please check out our website, unofficialofficialstory.com for our show notes or to hear our past episodes.
Yes, this will be our last episode of the season. We ended on a major, major high. We'll be taking a short break, but don't worry. We'll be putting out a bonus episode while we're going.
That's awesome.
We love bonuses.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you so much.
I had a
Yes.
Thank you
blast.
so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Ciao, Bella.